Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Taurus. We begin this reading with the Ace of Wands energy. I love it. It's fiery. It's alive. It is engulfed with passion, wanting, haughtiness. It's desire, dude. It's desire. And so, this can be for, that physical connection, of course, but, right? It's not always about that. It's not even always about romantic love. It could be any dang old thing that you are drawn to. Your work, your hobbies, your passions, your special interests, your obsessions, right? I love seeing this energy. I need a little dash of it myself. So, Taurus, I'm excited. We are aligning. When fire meets earth, and I am also an earth mama, right? I'm a Virgo. This is when things really become quite forged, right? This is when that heat, it absolutely solidifies and fortifies that earth. And so you are building something that is lasting, and you are using your great passion to do so. And I'm so excited. We're going to spin this thing. I'm excited to see what are the tea leaves going to say. How are they going to interact with this energy? And so also I want to say thank you for clicking on the reading, for seeing the thumbnail or the title, or, just having an interest in divination and tea leaf reading. Maybe even, you're into tarot or whatever. Thank you for taking a chance. I am so happy to have you here. And if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. I want to hear, I've been asking in some of the readings, tell me about your relationship to tea leaf reading. Have you seen it before? Have you had a tea leaf reading? I know that there are more people than I ever imagined that have aunties and grandmothers and, the lady that used to babysit me, that read tea leaves. And or coffee grounds or grains or whatever it is, but I'm always interested in hearing those stories. Thankfully for the internet, these arts are not dying out by any means, but we still need more people getting into divining, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. I know, and you might be like, Lenore, that's wild. Why would you want more people in your niche or in your chosen discipline? Because there's room for everybody. Absolutely. I mean, I'm competitive as much as, maybe not as much as anybody else. I'm competitive with myself. But yeah, please, let me just say this. If you are watching any of my readings or anybody's tea leaf readings and you are seeing formations and things that maybe I'm not bringing up or I'm not seeing, or you're seeing it a different way, which is the beauty of scrying, right? It's like a Rorschach test. Every person is going to see it a little bit differently, right? Because it is based on your psyche and experience more than anything. Okay. So if you do see things and you do feel moved by the tea leaves, please, they're not expensive. Go buy a little bag of loose tea leaves. You can get like the English breakfast. I use the Empire of, Keeman and the Ceylon, right? Which is, I think, a French one. And they're just black tea. Go and try them. Or if you have coffee grounds, do it with coffee grounds. Absolutely. I like to do it with instant coffee because you just get the bowl wet and you kind of I like to just throw it in there and see. Anyways, let's get started. I want to look at this. This one is really interesting. We have a person here. We have the number 7. Okay. We also have what looks to me like some kind of pot or like cookware of some kind. And in the middle, it is impregnated with the circle, right? So we know that there is the image, if you've ever seen it, it is just a plain old circle. Right in the middle, there is a dot, right? Like just a round black circle. And what is this symbol? It symbolizes the sun. It also symbolizes God, right? And now the circle is everything, right? The circle is the infinite. The dot on the inside is the word, right? Is that holy essence, that divine thing that brings that life, right, into the God form. So it might be something like the Holy Spirit. It could be the Shekinah. Even, I don't know, maybe like along the lines of, the Ka, right? So anyways, I'm looking at this and I'm feeling like there seems to be I honestly feel like you are creating something. I almost wonder if you're like cooking or baking, like literally. I feel that you are creating something with a great amount of love. There is a sense of like holy devotion. I do believe that this is for your family, a beloved one. Maybe you're like baking a cake for your kid's birthday or something like this. But there seems to be this element of, it is magic. And I feel that it's like everything that you do, you intentionally put belovedness to it. You intentionally put well wishes and prayers and this kind of thing. And you might not even be somebody who like considers yourself a practitioner of magic or the occult or, I don't know, call yourself a witch or a warlock or, I don't know, a bruja or brujo or, whatever, I guess, systems of magic you've grown up around or seen or, I would say usually in America, I'm from America, you can hear it, obviously, witch is really the bit, like that's the thing that you think, wizards, witches, right? Now, I technically would never consider myself a witch. Sometimes I'll just let it go. People will say, so you're like a witch. Yeah, sure. So I don't know if you consider yourself a practitioner or not, but I do think, actually, I know that everything you do, you are putting your intention into it. You are a highly intentional person, right? And this might just be like something that you learned from your mom, your grandma, your dad, whoever. You put love into things. It is like a ritual for you, but it feels so natural that you just consider this like what we do, right? And what would this look like? Right? I keep saying this and you're like, probably like, what does this even mean? So I'm imagining you, right, in the evening, making some pasta, stirring the pot, and your kids are in the living room and they're, getting out the last of that energy before they sit down and eat. And as you are stirring this pot and looking into it, you are thinking of the things you want for your children. You hope that they sleep well. You hope that they wake up and they go to school and they learn something useful for them. You hope that the world treats them kindly, but also gives them enough ordeal that they grow as a person in their wholeness. And you think of these kinds of things as you are doing this kind of rhythmic task. And you are gazing into it, and you are putting your intentions into the food, into the home, into the work that you do. And this comes naturally. You are a practitioner if you know it or not. You are a practitioner if you consider yourself that or not. You are constantly weaving magic into the world. And I see that very clearly. I also see that you are very in touch with spirit. I believe that birds, and we see up here a bird at the top, it reminds me of an alchemical image almost, really. But I would say that birds are something that show up in your life often, and I keep getting the sense that you have some bird decorations in your house, right? Like maybe a statue or paintings of birds. But I do feel that this is a sacred symbol for you, and I think it's something like eagles. Like a raptor of some kind. Now, I feel that we have the name Fred, F-R-E-D, Fred. I feel that you are beginning to draw people in with the energy that you are putting out because of the work that you are doing. We have people here. We also have the Hierophant right here. You can see the animal head, the human body. So this tells me they're wearing a mask or they are animal-headed. Over here, we have what looks like a person with their arm kind of reaching out this way. Now, I feel like this is gopher. Gopher. Right in here. G-O-P-H in here. E-R. Right down into here. The R is right here. So gopher. Maybe you're having gopher issues. We have them all over. They're all over our property. There's groundhogs, there's gophers, there's chipmunks. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. They're cute too. And I refuse to let them be harmed. Although I have to say the dog next door is a hunting dog, and she likes to come around on our property and like run the perimeter. And I have seen her taking a squirrel or a rabbit or two away with her. So, not everybody is always safe, even if I'm like, all right, you can stay. So we have gopher. But I do feel like there is a sense of people being drawn in, and it feels very, very abrupt. Like all of a sudden, like you're just going along with your life. Maybe even you've been a little bit lonely You know, maybe there's been a lull in the socializing. Maybe you've been really busy at work. You've been busy with the family. You just have not had a lot of time to be investing in the social aspects of your life, or maybe you just really aren't interested in that. And so I do feel suddenly there are people showing up in your life, people that you don't know. These are new people. We have the number 4 as well. Up here we have, it looks like the bull, and here's the head and the horns. Okay. And we have some kind of, it looks like 2. I almost wonder if these are 2 aspects of self. I feel like you're a person that you distinctly feel like you have 2 personalities at least. Now, I'm not saying that this is like a, what do they call that? Dissociative identity disorder, or we used to kind of call it multiple personality disorder. You know, if you've ever seen, well, and I don't know that the dude from Psycho, what was his name? The son's name? I don't know that he technically had dissociative identity disorder so much as he stepped into his mother's persona to cope. I take issue with the fact that he might be completely 2 separate personalities, but that is like one of the classic examples. But I would say it's not like that, but I feel like you compartmentalize. Okay, you have a work you have a home you have a, friends from college you have friends from work they're like different things. And I feel like, I don't know. We live in a weird world where people want you to always be the same thing. Like, you have to be your authentic self. You have to be the same. Every time I see you, you have to be the same person that I know you as, right? No, what do they call that? Code switching or whatever. I do it all the time. I do. I change the way that I speak because I've lived in different places. I've lived different lives. Not like on some catch me if you can type stuff. But yeah, I grew up unparented for the most part. I grew up in the streets, and sometimes you can hear that. Sometimes you can hear the mix of that and the Californian in me and the Midwestern in me. Sometimes I sound, fully like a mom, and sometimes I sound like a don't curse and real soft, and I don't know. I think that people should be as many things as they are. And that's okay. And it's okay to do that, or to feel like you want to try on different personalities and personas and so on and so forth. Now, this because you've probably been like this your whole life, that sometimes people are uncomfortable with it. Sometimes they will not receive you well. But I think for you, it does not really matter. I feel that you're in touch with yourself. You have a confidence that is not a put on. This isn't like a fake it till you make it type of deal. This is a person who is you, right? A person who has been brave, has decided to be vulnerable, has decided to speak your truth. And if that truth is, one thing on a Monday, a different thing on a Wednesday, and a completely different thing by Friday, I don't feel like you are ashamed of that. You're just going to be whatever it is. You're going to say what it is. You're going to express yourself how you are. I think another example that we've all been on both sides of this, but is when you have like a relationship that's volatile and you keep breaking up, or you're always like, fighting and stuff, and your friends are watching this happen, and, they start to just kind of, think like they don't even listen to you anymore because you're having problems. You're going on and on and on. I don't like this person. I can't believe I chose to be with them. Da 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 da. And then by the next day, you're back to being all lovey-dovey. Now, I'm not saying you're like I don't like saying toxic people. I do not like the rise of calling people toxic. But I don't think that I just feel like for you, it is what it is, what it is. If you don't like it, don't look at me. If you don't like it, then why are you here? If you don't like how I live or how I act, then what is you doing? Why are you spending your time as a whatever frenemy, as just somebody who's going to sit and judge somebody else? I don't think that you care. You're just going to do you. And that confidence is scary to people. It's not often you meet people like that. And when you do, and they are authentically like that, that is a powerful thing. And I think that you are a very powerful person, and you attract people, but you also deter people, right? Because they don't know how to handle you. I know that you have heard in your life that you are too much, that they can't handle you. This is way too much. I'm not, I can't deal with whatever, your emotions, your honesty, your openness, and maybe even at times it's stuff like you're out in the world and you might have a partner that feels like you overshare, or it's like your mom's always telling you, like, you don't need to be telling everybody everything about your life, and for you it's just like, dude, I am who I am. I'm not gonna hide anything, and if you don't like that, then you don't need to be around me, and I feel like this energy very potent right now for you. And I think it's important, because whatever is rising in your life right now, which it is, there's something coming to the surface. Whatever this is, that attitude, that confidence, that, kind of, I think of it as like almost having like blinders on, right? Do you know what blinders are? That's like those little things that they put on horses. So when they're racing, they can't see on the side of them. They can only see straight forward. Not nice, by the way. I don't condone. But, that's what blinders are. So I feel like you kind of get your blinders on and you are focused on the task at hand. You are not worried about, like, curating every aspect of your life, or putting a filter on your existence, or curating everything down to the smallest detail. I don't think so. I think that you like what you like, and you are who you are, and that is one of your superpowers, honestly. The other part of it is, too, and I just want to, like, super emphasize this, I do not think you are rude about it. You're confident, but you're not, like, an elitist. You're not a snob. You're just like maybe a little bit eccentric. I wonder if you maybe are into like theater or performance of some kind. You might be an artist, a musician, even like a teacher of young kids, or something where there are moments in your day where you can be performative. You can, maybe act a little different than who you are, I get this emphasis of being like super exaggerated, so that's why I wonder if it's like with kids, because man, you just don't realize how much, how many hats a teacher has to wear, or anybody that works in education or childcare. I mean, it really is. You have to, you don't have to, but oftentimes, yeah, you have to. You have to, like, put on that whole, Miss Rachel-y kind of energy, right? And I use Miss Rachel because my daughter was so into her when she was, like, I don't know, between, like, 6 months and, like, 2.5 years or whatever. Absolutely. So, yeah, I feel like for you, this is just, like, more normal, it's just, I mean, more of the same. You're always yourself. You're always kind of doing your thing. But I think in this time, there's, like, a real sense of it being quite an asset for you. Okay. Now, we have a person holding looks like a flower. You can see them sitting here and they're holding a flower. We have the crescent moon above. It also looks like an arrow. Okay, an arrow. Here we have a person who's standing. They're looking down. We have the Ace of Cups. So we have maybe the name, I don't know, Morris. Maybe Moore. The Moors. I don't know exactly. This, you know what this reminds me of, though? An alchemical engraving of Saturn. The melancholy, or the dark night of the soul. That's kind of what that really reminds me of. So there is, I feel, maybe a situation here where there is a bit of a wobble. Okay, so maybe there is something where you are going to be going into a more introspective kind of moment in your life, right? Like something comes up, or all of a sudden, like, the cool air of autumn reminds you of your mortality and, that kind of thing. But I do feel like there's something worthwhile here. I do feel like this is a call to contemplation, and maybe even to kind of look at what are the things that are your drivers, in life. They say, I know, like James Hillman and well, Freud, of course, and a lot of psychologists and philosophers do think that the main driving force is death, our fear of death, our, recognizing that we will at some point transcend, right? And, the other one is also creation and, copulation, creating, that's another one. And just survival. But that's also part of the death drive, right? So I'm not saying that you're going to be sitting around thinking about, your impending doom or something. But yeah, I do feel like sometimes we get to these places where we are shifting, we are opening up, we are beginning a new cycle, a new time in our life. And we do need to kind of look and see, like, what are the motivators here? Am I in an era of my life where I'm looking for deep connection, belovedness, romance, companionship? Or maybe this is a time in my life where I am, looking to be more autonomous. I want to go to the forest. I want to be in the wilderness by myself, So I do feel like there is maybe a bit of inventory, right, that needs to be done. Now, with that lunar energy above, I just really want you to not succumb to it. Can I ask you a favor? Please do not succumb to the melancholy. I know, easier said than done, right? But please stay balanced as much as you can. Give yourself breaks. Don't sit around and think about this and ruminate. And, it's like shadow work or any other kind of processing and integration. We have to take our time with it. This is not a thing where you just you go to your therapist and, you do the worksheets and stuff and then, oh, I'm done. I turned it in. I'm all good now. It doesn't work that way. At least in my opinion, it doesn't, or my experience. This is a thing that you have to live with, right? It becomes a part of your life. Like it is part of the lifestyle that you are living. It is something that takes time. It is something that you need to walk away from at times. Give yourself a little bit of a break. Take a weekend. Take a little vacation from it. But you also don't want to fall out of practice, right? It's like anything else. Like for me, I work out every day. I work out hard. I ride like 15 miles a day. And that's, plus I do other things. But, and I'm not bragging, by the way, although I am proud of myself. But when I've been sick, right, I have to slow down. And it is hard to get back to that intense routine. Even just missing like 2 days. So the thing that really, and this is, me talking to myself as well, is just making sure that as you are going through this moment of kind of adjustment in your life or readjustment in your life, that you are upholding the foundational things, right? And that is like keeping the house together, going to work, paying the bills, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, all those kinds of boring things, right? We have to do them because if we don't, everything starts to collapse. And unless that's your intention, you got to stay on top of things, okay? So the other part here is I feel that there has been something of maybe a little bit of an emotional blow. I don't feel like this is something huge like a cheating event or getting divorced or anything like that. But I do feel like there's been a moment where maybe somebody was not careful with your feelings or, they weren't communicating with you in a way that was, protecting them and you, right? I know like when my husband and I first got married, or well, not even married, when we were just, getting to know each other, dating for a few years before we moved in together, there were times where my husband, my husband, Paul, over at Dove and Serpent Tarot, he's amazing. But there are times where, I could tell that it made him uncomfortable because I will tell you what I need. I'm not saying that I am demanding it, but I will say to you, I'm having, a hard day. I need a little more affection today. Or, I need you to really, really try to just be empathetic. I don't need advice or, I need advice, but I don't want you to get too emotional or angry or, whatever. Now, I can't manage how he communicates with me or how he feels or any of that stuff. But, we have had to learn each other's styles of communication and honor one another's, kind of experience and conditioning and process of either getting rid of some of that, letting it go, or, keeping the things that do still work for us individually. And, you know, sometimes you will find people in your life who, for one reason or another, they're not comfortable asking for what they need. In fact, they might find that to be a weakness within themselves. And maybe they don't feel like that about other people, or maybe they do. You know, you're always asking for help. Well, you're weak, you know. I don't know. I don't hold that belief, but, you know, people can feel that way, definitely. So I feel that, you know, sometimes we have to kind of, you know, in the moment it can be very hurtful. Absolutely. But sometimes we also have to kind of remember, like, you know, not everybody is experiencing reality the way we do. Not everybody processes information the way that we do. Not everybody has the same experience of emotions, right? The way they experience their emotions might be a little bit different. Or, you know, they maybe, you know, they're not comfortable. They're just not comfortable talking about this stuff openly or being vulnerable. And you know what? That's okay. Try not to take it personally. But I do feel like, you know, the situation it feels painful. And I feel like somebody it's like they just were not careful with you. And I think really it's not about like people have to be careful with us or they don't love us, right? But I'm of the opinion, anyways, that if I love you and I want you in my most private life, right? Which I have my husband, my daughter, and that's my most private life. These are two people that I don't want to be careless with them. I don't want to do things that are selfish or thoughtless or, you know, I just totally miss the mark and it hurts people's feelings or makes them upset or makes their life harder. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I make those mistakes sometimes? Yes, of course I do. Yes, of course I do. Yes, of course I do. You know, and so sometimes we have to give people grace, just a little bit, right? I feel that this is a person, because of the posture, and where did it go? I don't know if it's still, no, some of these fell. Because of the posture of the girl with the cup on the ground, it makes me feel like, you know, somebody wasn't careful with you, but they feel regret. You know, they recognize that whatever happened, it hurt you. Or it made you feel some type of way, right? Also, I think it made you pull away. So I do feel like there is room for this thing to be worked out. Because I don't think it's such a huge deal that it's like, yeah, like I said, not like divorce or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's an opportunity. It is an invitation from the universe for you to talk openly with this person, to figure out like where do we need to kind of readjust things between us, right? And also to be able to make sure that you're showing up and listening. Okay, not just going in there with the, you need to do this and you made me feel like this, and, you know, which we all can get like that. Absolutely we can, you know. But I feel like this is an opportunity for you to, you know, the cup fell, but the water didn't seem to fall or drain out, you know. It didn't spill. Pick that thing up. It's still good. Dust it off. 10-second rule. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is, you know, it's a gift. It's a gift within troubles, right? Blessing within troubles. All right, let's do our lucky numbers. Number 7. Of course. I pulled 2 7s earlier for my own reading. We had a 7 in your bowl as well. Tell me what 7 means to you. I'm interested. Everybody has different correspondences. 51, unless it's like prescribed from a book or something. But 63. So I'm interested what people kind of, how they experience numbers, what they relate them to. And if you want to share that, put it in the comments. All right, what else? I think that's it. We're going to go. We're going to just go. It's 40 minutes. I am going on and on today, aren't I? So anyways, Taurus, I love you. You're the best. Please take care of yourself. If you want to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Again, I keep saying that, I think. I don't know. That phrase haunts me in my sleep. So anyways, we'll talk soon. Good night.